Hi, I'm Nick, owner and only member of Karp Dev Studio. You've probably seen it in the title. I'm here to introduce you to my project, Defenders for Hire. If you've been following my Twitter or Instagram, you've probably gotten some idea of the progress I've made and some idea of what the game is like. This first devlog is going to go over who I am, what I've done so far, and what I hope the future looks like for Defenders for Hire. Okay, I think I'm legally required to do this part. I have two pets, I'll get them out of the way really quickly. I have Zelda, my cat, and Yuri, my dog. Here's their pictures. You'll probably see them in a lot of my stuff. And I'm done with that for now. Okay, now, first big thing. Who am I? I really am, at least at the moment, just a hobbyist game developer who wants to make it a career, obviously. I do have some qualifications for this, like, okay, so maybe I'm not as qualified as I could be for this. I still do have one accomplishment. In 2019, I released a game called Bound on the Google Play Store. Don't play it. It has been updated a total of one time. Not long after, I lost the source code. So it's not bad. It can be fun. I know where its flaws lie, but I'm sure I don't know all of them. So if you do play it, please let me know how bad it is. Other than that, I've been tinkering and learning game development for probably the last 7 or 8 years, just working on small little personal projects that I never really pushed anywhere. But these last few years, I've really been trying to push myself out there and finally get a well-built product out into the world. And I think that brings me to this project, Defenders for Hire. You've probably gathered some of this from the social media posts. Defenders for Hire is a top-down action RPG that heavily draws from games such as the 2D Legend of Zelda games, the Diablo series, and features a combat system that may not be the most innovative thing, but it's very fun to play with. Over the past 20 weeks of development, I've gone from scribbling down notes for the game onto my phone to this mess, to actually having a somewhat presentable game that you're seeing right now. So far, I've been able to get a very competent and working combat system. It's got a somewhat simple inventory system that still supports a lot of things like inventories and editing of the inventory in real time. I think what's taken most of my time so far is that I've built a lot of these systems with a structure that allows me to easily iterate on them and create new weapons, new inventory menus, new enemies, and so on. Because of this, scriptable objects have probably become one of the most useful things to me, and using this to bridge the gap into my workflow. Odin Inspector for Unity in combination with that, fantastic. It has enabled me to create such an efficient workflow for this. In general, my workflow process begins in Milanote. I've tried tools such as Todoist and ClickUp, and they weren't visual or creative enough for me. Milanote really lets me design my ideas and boards how I want to. I use it for a lot of note-taking, design, planning, and overall organization. I would like to clarify, I'm not sponsored by anything I mention in this video. Just putting that out there. From there, I use pretty much any free and open source tools I can get my hands on. Unity, Blender, Audacity. At this point, they really help me to get every one of my ideas into the game and playable. In terms of ideas, I have a lot, of course. I'm trying to keep it as streamlined and minimalized as possible. But in general, here's some of the key goals that I have for this game. I plan on making the combat and weapon system as customizable and in-depth while understandable as possible. Weapons have clearly defined attacks that can be mixed and matched with other weapons as much as you see fit. These weapons are also going to serve more than just combat purposes as well. They can be used in environmental puzzles, such as pulling objects to you, breaking certain objects, or manipulating the environment or scene in a certain way. And they can of course be upgradable and customizable with items such as slotted gems. The actual gameplay will involve you creating your defender, a customizable character that you will use to tackle any quest, dungeon, adventure, or journey of your choice, be it solo or with friends, on whatever console I'm able to get the games on. Unity Services has enabled me to use features such as cross-play and cross-save that I hope will let anyone enjoy the game together, anywhere. Okay, now to the bad part. So, I'm not a jack of all trades. Programming is probably my strongest thing, but art and music, I don't think I'm capable of. So far, my programming has seemed fairly solid, and I'm actually really proud of the 3D work that I've done on the character, some of the early weapons, and the chest. And I'm really proud of my animations and how they look, but I'm not sure how much more artistically talented I can be. I know that's going to hinder the process a lot, until I'm able to pick up the skills along the way, or be able to support hiring an artist. I also have a full-time job, and not just a 9-to-5 job, no, it's even better. It's an 8-to-5 job, yay! And a day or two every month, I have to work a full 24 hours on call. Woo, so fun. Of course, I can't just drop this job like I've seen some people do. I have a family I need to support, and I don't have money coming in from any other source at the moment, so this is going to probably delay development quite a bit, but I'm hoping by putting my development process out there and trying to support my Ko-Fi and maybe Patreon as much as possible, I can hopefully integrate into a full-time developer. That's always been the biggest dream of mine, to make and create games and experiences for people that hopefully ends up making them happy by the end of the day. I've clearly still got a long way to go. There's a lot of things that I need to create, develop, design, whatever word you want to use for it, but I'm trying to keep things as structured and on a roadmap as possible. Because the next biggest thing that I've got on my roadmap is creating enemies. I already have some enemies designed on a conceptual stage that I still have yet to model or program into the game just yet. But seeing as though I've got the inventory and the weapon and combo system going, the enemies are going to be my next biggest project. Alongside that, as much as I know I'll struggle to, I want to create the Defender customization system. I've grown very fond of this little plain avatar, but I know I've got to start integrating some more art assets into my game. And so far over these 20 weeks, from what I've posted on social media, people do seem really supportive of it so far, and that really makes me happy. I was incredibly nervous about putting anything out onto social media or out publicly, but I know as an indie developer, that's the only way I'm going to be able to get any kind of support and feedback on my game. And I've got the links for my Twitter and Instagram down in the description, as well as the link to my Twitch, which I plan on having development streams on. And I've also got the link to my Ko-fi down in the description, and I had to look up the pronunciation of it. It apparently is Ko-fi and not coffee or Ko-fi. Ko-fi. I hate pushing or even asking for things like this, but if you want to support me, and if you are capable of supporting me without in any way endangering your own finances, the link to my Ko-fi is in the description. I'm going to try to put some more behind the scenes things on Ko-fi for anyone that does choose to support me, because I do want to give back to those people in some way. And I will likely set up a Patreon at some point as well if people prefer Patreon over Ko-fi. But in terms of the first devlog, I think I've covered everything. There's still a lot more I need to do, and I'm going to do as much as I can whenever I can. But I think for right now, that's where I'm going to leave it at. I don't know how often I'm going to be able to get these devlogs out with how much I'm going to be working on the game and my job, but I hope to be able to get them out often enough to let people know what is currently happening with the game, what I'm currently working on, alongside my posts on Twitter and Instagram. I do think the next video is going to be a video of me playing the current state of the game as well as explaining the mechanics that you see in it, such as the combat and the inventory wheel and how they work. I've also thought about putting more specific developer posts or videos on my Ko-fi, such as explaining how the inventory wheel was built or the full process of me creating a weapon, but I don't plan on that happening for about another week or two. Other than that, I'll probably leave it here with a slideshow or a video of some of the work that I've done up until this point. Okay, so hi, it's Nick again. I thought I'd add this little bit at the end where I kind of look over what I had done through the video and just give my thoughts about everything. I realized there wasn't a whole lot in the video necessarily, but when I look back at my project, I realized there's not a whole lot there either. And up until this point, I really hadn't documented or recorded every single step I've made to develop some of these things. And I also felt like this should be more introductory and explaining what the project is going to be before breaking down every part of the project. because then that video would be really, really long. Of course, the next thing I'm going to be doing is the enemies as well as the character customization system. I may not be able to get it looking good in terms of the character customization system, but I can at least make it work. Alongside those two, I'm wanting to get a video or two out about the current weapon and combat system that I have, going more into depth about how it works, how each of the weapons can be defined in their own unique ways. And to help kick off my Ko-fi, I'm hoping to get some kind of more behind the scenes look into either that or the inventory wheel. If you have a preference on one or the other, feel free to leave a comment below. Or if you're wanting me to explain any part of this project, or if you have any questions, comment down below. I'll gladly get to them in the next video. And looking back at the video, there's not a whole lot there in terms of visual elements on the video. I feel like in a lot of spots I just didn't know what exactly to put there, or I didn't have any footage representing what I was talking about. That's probably going to be one of the biggest things I work on in the next video, is trying to make it more visually appealing and representative of what I'm talking about. Getting this video out here, I knew making videos was hard, but it ended up being a lot more challenging than I expected, along with having to do a bunch of other things at the same time, and just getting the nerve to talk to nothing, essentially. It's difficult for me. I'm a very quiet and introverted and anxious person, so putting myself out here like this and showing the things that I'm doing, it's nerve-wracking. But I'm really trying to help myself get over it, because I know that I have to do this at some point. And hearing people's feedback and getting good comments actually makes me really happy. It kind of validates that I'm doing a good thing here. I do hope over the next few videos that I'm able to kind of grow out of my shell, I should say. And you should also leave in the comments what you think about the video just in general. If there was something you didn't like, let me know. If there's something that I could do better on, let me know. Or if you did like it, I would also like to know that. But I'll leave it there for now. Follow my Twitter and Instagram, and I'll keep you updated on when the next videos are coming out to either YouTube or Ko-fi. Or I sometimes post small individual showcases on there for smaller things. But yeah, see you in the next video.